I joined Katie Lang, I think it was 96, 97, and that was kind of my real first tour. And how that happened, there was this kind of big cattle call for guitar.
2,000 people.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot of
2,000?
people.
Yes.
There was like a ton of people, but you know, I learned the parts, but I learned all of the keyboard lines and everything like that. So I was so hungry, literally. I just learned everything so perfect. Like I would walk in.
You went beyond the Call of Duty and said just guitar everything.
Yeah. So
you impressed them.
I guess I got the gig.
Guess a little.
Well, we'll say 1 in 2,000, and you know John gets the gig. So
it was great because we. You know, there's private planes, and there was a masseuse, and we had our own.
Why, she's that big?
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was a cook, and you know, we played the Opera House in Australia and Radio City Music Hall, and you know, 3 nights there, and I mean, it was so amazing.
So
and
that was your first big taste.
That was the first big taste, and
you liked it.
I liked it. It was great, you know. So then from there, I started working with. Rob Halford and David Lee Roth.
Right. Well, listen, which one was first, Rob or Dave?
I think Rob was first.
Okay, because I remember telling you in the makeup room how I saw that photo of you and Rob. Actually, I sort of thought it was 2 girls, but that's another story.
That's another show?
So, yeah, that's
another show.
Okay. But yeah, it was, you know, what a great artist and singer and musician, Rob Halford.
I mean, there's that photo up there I shot in '79. It says, Neil, you snapped me good, Rob Halford. But Rob is the ultimate professional. Yeah, I mean, I love Rob.
He's incredible. And not just at music, but he is such a great person.
Yeah, he's a real gentleman.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah, and he when it comes to business, he does what's required. Yeah. I mean, you know.
He is great, and he's, you know, one of the greatest voice. And,
you can't get better than him.
You know,
I mean, Judas Priest and even the Fight records. You were with him after the 2 Fight records. As a matter of fact, what was your project called?
It was called 2, and Trent Reznor, you know, helped with a bunch of songs on that, and it was such a great record. And people, it's funny, people always comment on that record because it was really something special, and it was. Because people are checking it out now and are like, oh my God.
Right.
But we really had a great time.
Yeah, Rob's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then after that, I hooked up with David Lee Roth.
Which you're a big fan of Van Halen.
Now, how did you hook up with Dave? He's not the easiest person to let newcomers into his little tight-knit circle. So.
Now, this is, you know, just how driven I am. It was Kiss and Van Halen for me. Jimi Hendrix, Kiss, Van Halen. You know, I had epiphanies through my life. And, but Van Halen, it just really changed. And I remember I was so little, I was like, you know, probably 1981, I was probably like 11. I was like, I just want to be, you know, Eddie Van Halen. I want to be
doing
that. Everything. You know, I just want
a person to emulate.
Yeah, I just want to, like, you know, play with David Lee Roth, you know, and all that stuff. So, long story longer, I was sitting at my friend's house, and I looked at his book, and it was Crazy from the Heat, and I was like, I wonder what Dave is doing right now. So I did the little research I knew, and I found who was managing Dave, and it was Ed Anderson.
Right, Eddie. Big Ed Anderson.
So, who you know well.
Know him well.
And I tracked him down, and I said, my name is, you know, blah, blah, blah. He knew nothing about me, of course, and I said, I would like to give you some songs if you could give to Dave. And, you know, he was like, okay, well, here's my address. So I knew how to do this Van Halen type of style, and I went into a studio and cut these tracks.
5, right?
Gone
5.
Yeah, right.
I think you sent him 5 tracks.
I sent these tracks, and I was like, so, you know, I just wanted these just to be just right. And they were like, okay, you know, can you send us more? And I was like, okay. So I sent more, and you know, I was poor. You know, I didn't have a lot of money, and but it was expensive to go into a studio.
I was going to say, you actually, this is before Pro Tools and all that.
So I had to go through all that stuff, and you know, I went into the studio again. And they were like, okay, he likes that too. can
So
you
he
send
liked
us-"
everything.
Yeah.
He liked the first and then he liked the second.
Can you send us more now? And I said, well, I can't really. I'd like to meet Dave because I didn't know if he was just taking these songs
Right.
Right.
Gonna
and
rip
doing
you
what
off.
else,
Yeah, exactly.
whatever with
Wasting
them.
your time.
So he said, okay, well, Dave would like to meet you. Here's his address, and he'd like to meet you so and so and so. So I go over there, and you know, I'm freaking out because I was just sitting on the couch going, I wonder what Dave's doing, you know, type of thing.
Right.
So I finally get to this point where I'm going to meet Dave, and Dave is not one that goes and hangs out here or there.
Not at all.
You'll never see him hanging around
He's
someplace.
pretty much a recluse.
Yeah, so luckily I get into, you know, his huge house, which you've been to
Bradford, yeah, I know.
10,000 times, and that big gate, and he goes, hello, John, you know, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So he goes, like what you're doing, here's what we're gonna do. And we cut this record at 6 in the morning because I was playing with Rob Halford at the same time. But he was so smart, Dave, he wanted me fresh. He didn't want me after I rehearsed with Rob and I was all tired. He wanted me first because he's, you know, got
Right.
that thing, you know, I'm Lee Roth and we're gonna.
He don't want you seconds,
Did he
sloppy
say if
seconds.
you can't do this in 2 weeks, then you can't do it at all?
No, he said if you can't do this in 2 takes.
Oh, 2 takes.
So it was even worse. I wish I had, you know, if he said, hey, take your time, 2
Right.
weeks, I'd be like, great. So I got, you know, we got in there live and he's like, we're going to do this just like we used to do it. We're going to do it live and,
Mistakes and everything. And
yeah, but luckily I didn't make mistakes.
Right.
I would sit up for, you know, days and nights, all night, you know, and just
Right.
play these songs so I would not mess up.
Right.
And we did it, and I played bass on it, and we did it in 2 weeks.
Was that?
Did you end up doing 6 songs on his record?
Yeah, 6 songs on his record.
Is that the solo record that
Yeah,
he did?
that's a DLR band.
Yeah, because that's just. Which songs did you do on that?
Oh, let's see if I remember. Slam Dunk.
That's a great one.
Yeah, Blacklight, Weekend with the Babysitter.
Weekend with the Babysitter is great.
Yeah,
I like that one. Something Texas? Did you do
Yeah,
that one?
Little Texas.
That was good too.
Yeah, I think I did. What was that? You know, there's God, great songs.
I mean, you know, Dave did Eat 'Em and Smile after he left Van Halen. That was amazing. But
Yeah.
everyone after that Skyscraper wasn't
I
quite.
love Skyscraper.
Well, as much as Eat 'Em and Smile.
It's a very close second.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the
But
third
you're
one-
asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I
'cause
mean, listen, I'm a Dave fan too. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but the David Lee Roth band album that you did, that was to me as good as Eat 'Em and Smile.
I remember there was an interview with Eddie Van Halen, and I'm from Detroit, and he was on WRIF, and they were talking because I'm from Detroit, so the radio station, Detroit radio station, was talking about me. Oh, do you know this guy John Lowry who's playing with David Lee Roth right now? He goes, yes, I've heard the stuff, and I'll never forget this. Eddie said he should stick with them.
Stick with Dave.
No, see, I should stick with Dave.
Oh, you should stick with
yeah,
Dave.
like he's good. He should stick
Right.
with
Wow.
Dave. You know, so it was great, and I have this on this.
Well,
little
that's pretty
cassette,
good
you
because
know.
Eddie doesn't give too many compliments
Yeah.
to too
Yeah.
many guitar players.
And I love Eddie. You know, he's like.
Oh, he's
Well,
amazing.
that must have been exciting when,
Yeah.
when he gave you a compliment like
Yeah,
that.
it's great. It's you know, so it's been amazing. Then after David Lee Roth, it was.
Well, you produced for Meatloaf, Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, like a bunch
right.
of people.
And then
Writing for them.
did you write that song for the Scorpions on Humanities, or you just play guitar on it?
No, I wrote it. It's
The first one?
hour one.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's called Hour One, and yeah, I wrote that with Desmond Child and James Michael, and
Desmond pretty much did most of that album, I think.
yes,
correct?
Desmond produced the album.
And actually, that's probably my favorite Scorpions album, Humanities. It's
Yeah.
not as brutal as Blackout or any of those, but
It's
it
a
just,
great record,
It's
yeah.
more of a spiritual record, if you really. It sort of tells a story throughout.
Yeah.
I love that record.
I met Desmond through Paul Stanley. Paul called and said, "Oh, we're writing a song. You know, come." Desmond Child's there, and Desmond Child wrote a ton of great Kiss songs. He wrote you know, I Was Made for Loving You, I think was his first Kiss song.
Well, that was when they did, wasn't the disco Kiss era?
Which I love. See, you're talking to the wrong guy. Like,
He likes everything. That's
I
why
love
he's
it.
such
Well,
a
that's
consummate
good. He's
musician.
open-minded.
That's why he's able
Great.
to write for so many
Oh
different people.
man, I love it. I love
And
it.
that's why you can work with so many people, because he's so
Yeah.
open-minded from, you know.
And he's also a staff writer for EMI now?
Yeah,
I
for
believe?
EMI now.
A staff writer? So what does that mean?
I just write with tons and tons of artists all the time, and you know, it's great. It's kind of like, you know, being in a different band every day, you know. So it's
Well,
it's
speaking about
phenomenal.
different bands, why don't you tell us a little bit about working with Marilyn Manson? Because Marilyn was pretty unique and obviously controversial when
Yes.
he came out of this shoot. So
One question
Yeah.
regarding your name,
Mhm.
because there's so much different controversy. Is it because you are Marilyn Manson's fifth drummer?
The
fifth
guitar
drummer, he
Or
plays
fifth
guitar,
guitar,
Sam.
Yes.
Sorry.
White girl.
White
No,
girl.
that's all right.
White girl.
No, it was actually, I met Manson. What happened after David Lee Roth? I went to meet with Manson, and he gave me the name over lunch.
Oh.
John 5.
John 5, yeah, because he was wanting to do everything with numbers at this point, and so it worked out great because you know, it's a biblical meaning as well.
Right,
It's a
okay.
you know, Bible story, and I was also the fifth member of the band, so it was some of the greatest times of my life, and I've learned, you know, so much, and it was wild, you know, and that's how, you know, I'd say most of the people know who I am is from that, and it was great. I got to travel the world again, you know,
Right.
because I did with Katie Lang and all that stuff, but made
But
great
that's a whole
records.
different, traveling the world with Katie
Yeah.
Lang and
Yeah.
traveling the world with Marilyn Manson. I mean, the
Yeah.
audience must have been as different as day and night. I mean,
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was the only way to really describe it. It was like New Year's Eve every day, and it
Sure.
was just like that. Like,
But it seems like your image as well, just
Mhm.
being with you came within yourself of who you actually were.
right. Actually, it's funny because people ask that. It's a very good question, and people ask that. But I was doing this with Rob Halford, and I was doing this when I was playing clubs, you know, in Michigan.
Doing
too.
this as in
Like,
what, the
look-
makeup?
Right.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
funny.
That's cool, but I guess the Marilyn Manson's
Yeah.
really when.
Yeah, and people, you know, I loved it. It was such a great time, and we made a lot of great records and a lot of great hits, and you know, it was so much fun.
Right.
And then when it ended, I kind of sat back and I said, all right, you know, what am I